Hello, free enterprise fans. Welcome to today's race. We are featuring Rexx Raul of the Rusty Spoons versus Sk0tt of the Kokkolshop Quartet. Both of these teams are in the 2-1 record holding, and that means we're in for a great race today. Hope you're all excited to be here. Looking forward to the race. I am joined by Deathlike in the commentator booth. We have Sk0tt behind the scenes and Akir on tracking. Thanks everybody for being here. Deathlike, how are you feeling about today's seed?
I mean, Sk0tt rolled it, and we have an edge start. So, and our objectives point to, hey, darkness required for most things. So, and if there's a Sk0tt bonus, it's returning the pan for the darkness crystal because you know you want it.
Yeah, definitely. Anytime you see that spread of darkness objectives, you get a little bit worried in a 1v1 race setting, but it'll be interesting to see how these two tackle today's objectives for sure.
Yeah, so edge start is an interesting thing to play with. So obviously edge to maximize his effectiveness is to obviously give him Hanzo Steel. Anything and everything is good. Even if you get a utility knife, weapon such as like the Mute Knife, or even the Boomerang, that will make Edge a lot more effective. So maybe we'll see a lot more early shopping just to get Edge online, and that might mean an early trip to Castle Eblan for some early loot. We'll have to probably some early resets just to avoid actually fighting the trap chests in at least in the near immediacy. But you want that money now, and you want and Hanzo Steel does cost a pretty penny at the top tiers.
Yeah, Edge is definitely a strong character, joined by a white mage. I think that's really nice to see for our runners today. Oh no, Sk0tt. What have you done?
Not quite go mode, but it's already spicy. I like it. With this poem, you'll solve quite a few issues immediately. You need that white mage anyways. Probably maybe worth even to take a look at the Lunar Dais for another free character. So we'll see if our runners consider that route early, because free character, who says no to that?
Yeah, another warm body to take turns, take hits, always welcome on almost any team. I was going to say long term, Edge has some issues maybe taking on the Giant and the Feymarch because of how fast they are, but I think maybe that's more short term we were prepared for today.
Hey, there are only a few characters can't roll as the hero. The most old men being the few. So having Edge makes the seat super spicy. But it makes the Murzane, if found at any point, really valuable. That will neutralize a lot of the agility Edge will be having start to begin with.
Learn how to play
probably not as useful
Darkness.
immediately, but later on, the Murzane will have some value.
Yeah, definitely will help with that agility, any agility concerns we might have. And looks like Rexx is gonna go take up the big whale to the moon. So we'll see. Hopefully, duplicate form and gets a nice little reward here.
Yeah, dupe can't have dupe characters just go disappear. So that tends to be a worst case scenario. You could have a seed where you might have two characters to get to the underground. Well, not common enough, but it can happen because just the way these seed rolls. So you will need Edge to carry the load, no matter how you slice it.
Luckily, he's very capable of carrying that load. Hey, that's kind of neat. That's a good character to see. Normally.
I think it's. I think having kind of one of the slowest characters, I think Sid being the other character, Teds can be problematic getting their turns in over time. I mean, yeah, when you get levels, you get more agility, but when you are the slowest, you might not get your turn in. And so, Tella for now is fine. You have immediate access to exit, so your loot is it's gonna be a lot more fun to do. But if there's an opportunity to maybe yeet Tella, I mean, like say a Rosa appears, that's not an undesirable option. So right now, the Tella will have some value. May not have the same value because of Edge's anchoring situation.
Yeah, he's just a bit too slow when Edge gets to be really any faster than his base level. But for now, I think he's perfectly capable of taking a hit or two at least.
I mean, extra blink and lunar sparkle at Bahamut spot. So yeah, sure, that'll be a fun surprise soon enough. Right now, it's probably we'll have to eliminate options on the table while this seed is going. So right now, it's really about what the runners will go initially. And there are plenty of options, like even just going to Mount Hobbs, but it looks like a spicy early. Hey, I want Porm to be useful for a lot of the match. The hairdryer chest. I was looking because we have K-Trap on, is super valuable and as long as Edge survives, you'll be fine.
Yeah, I really like going for this early, and you'll be fine as long as Edge survives, but you do want to optimize this fight to get the swoon procs for sure.
Yeah, the starting toolkits, you get Assassin Dagger, you get the though I'm trying to remember these susceptible coffins. I think they are. There are kind of a number of enemies you don't fight often enough, like especially K-Trap being on for this season. I mean, there's trying to apply the just rock swoon can be a little dicey. Only because Assassin Dagger itself has a low base accuracy, so it's can be difficult and probably may not be timed correctly, as it's simply not proccing from Rexx Raul. Probably still get through, but it might be slower than preferred.
Yeah, it's just gonna take a minute, but hopefully the experience, just makes up for it. It makes every subsequent fight that much faster. But Scott finds a couple of nice items here in Troya. Got Protect Rings and Stardust Rods, which is going to be pretty great for his team.
Yeah, so Scott decided, hey, I want to do hairdryers too. Stardust Rod will do quite a bit of work, and the Protect Rings, pretty good option for Edge. I mean, there might be better options down the road, but not trying to increase agility with the Protect Ring is a solid option, and will make things happen. Yeah, Tella's trying here. Yes, he's trying.
It looks like an early flame. Okay, no, we're going to the public treasury. I thought maybe we were going to get an early flame dog.
It's not. I mean, it's not the worst thing. If you're here, you might as well do it. Public treasury, based on like the probabilities, the random probabilities, like everything in the chests are converted to money. So there's an off chance you might get some decent spikes in treasury and treasure money. So I mean, they're usually it's much more useful in seeds where if Deadward provides a free key item. Especially have an earth crystal start, then doing the public and actual treasury will pretty much mostly set you for the seed up for the most part.
Yeah, and with this starting Ice Claw, Edge should easily be able to take out the Flame Dog, so I like this play a lot. Rexx is almost through these strange amoeba creatures.
Yeah, they're cells. I mean, it's what they are. I mean, that's what their names mean. Now, what they're moon cells. So if it makes sense, it's. But hair dryers is a nice name. I mean, it's descriptive. Let's put it that way. It's very descriptive.
Oh yeah, it's a great name for them. I like these little blinks just in case the hourglass wears off.
Yeah, Tella, you might as well make him do some work. You just need safety. You don't want to be surprised that the monster actually gets its turn, and then bad things happen, and you don't want to be resetting out of all of that. So just those are safety and having that early access from Tella. The value is there, and Porum gains pretty much a lot of the critical spells. She will function, and someone's praying for an actual Cecil in the seed.
Interesting pull from that. You can sell it if you don't find your Cecil, so it's not too bad. You might save some time looting. But we'll see if that experience helps Rexx on the blue planet here.
I think just any early grind oftentimes will get you there quicker. Just like you don't even need to get 10 key items to get the double XP. Sometimes just early boost just to make your character stable. I mean, right now Porum is it's got to be just pretty darn quick. Even though Edge is to be the fastest one, Porum is gonna help, especially if a heroin robe shows up. So there is plenty of positives, and we just got one. We don't need to buy another. Not consider it. Not consider it.
I do find ribbons though. I really like finding ribbons in potion party flags. Really great pieces of gear. Mage resistance and many status ailments resistance.
Yeah, so I mean the greatest benefit from the ribbon, honestly, is just fighting our favorite Laugh-O-Matic, Golbez, and mostly the Hungry Dragon, and the Evil Wall. If for some reason the Evil Wall doesn't do nice things, it cheats off quite a bit often, or if not all the time, there is plenty of value of a ribbon. There is a reason why it's highly valued. May not need it right now, but just sometimes that safety, you want to guarantee a certain character to live, that is an option. Or there's alternative options like kind of making other teammates take naps just to set things up.
Pretty nice shop in the city there. We got Artemis bows and strength rings and bandanas. Scott picking up some a bandana and a strength ring for Edge, presumably.
I think Artemis bow pretty valuable, especially for Porum. I mean, it's obviously not a heroin robe, but it's heroin robe adjacent and much more universal. So if you need your mage to go faster, or even Sid, who might still show up in the seed, he could actually contribute. It's just the Artemis bow may be worth buying just to get another character closer to Edge's agility stat.
Yeah, and also with Edge's ability to steal Akaswine, which we otherwise can't obtain in this flag set, barring quest rewards. You can get the arrow glitch as well, which can be helpful.
But we have the master of disaster in Porum. She cries. And she makes it easier for Edge to do his thing. I mean, this is a partner in crime. My favorite partner in crime with Edge, Porum and Edge.
Well, we see Scott picking up Rydia. Sanderby came from the Flame Dog chest. This is a pretty big get. I think we saw Leviathan earlier. I don't know if Scott saw that or Rexx, but either way, it is out there. And we know that all of the summon orbs are in some shop somewhere, so that's a pretty big pickup.
Yeah, with S-Wild enabled, you basically Bahamut and Leviathan the chances of it showing up increases dramatically. It's not a guarantee, but I like my chances. This flag set really demonstrates Rydia's power when she has access to, you know, the better summons, particularly Leviathan and everyone's favorite Bahamut, Blarg.
Yeah, both summons are capable of clearing out the overworld. Bahamut capable of clearing out the entire seed. There's only a couple spots where Leviathan can really struggle, but if it does come up, it's not fun to run into that. Interesting, we've got Rosa.
Willed her into existence, did I not? I said Rosa. We're looking there. And hold Gauntlet, that'd be fun. Probably worth it.
You know what? I actually kind of disagree. I think we've got a perfectly fine forum that can cast Berserk.
I think this is incentive. I'm not sure. Like, we still need to know. There's possible 7 characters. We only know 5 of them. So they're still. We're obviously hoping for a Cecil. At least Rexx was hoping for a Cecil to show up. But this is right now. There's a reason to kind of. A reason to actually tell you don't necessarily need a kind of a third white mage. It's a little if he's the third white mage with your other options are not so great. I mean it's fine, but I mean you don't need you don't really need 3 blink casters, but it's a nice thing to have when you at least have 2. It makes your seed so much nicer.
Definitely true. Blink is a very powerful spell, and at least for this gauntlet, we've got Flame that can take care of most of these formations, so it shouldn't be too long.
Yeah, the spirits, all forms of it are absorb fire, so still easily taken care of. Not really concerned, but so Scott now has, I think, a full party, so that's nice. Probably will. We'll obviously see what's next, but yeah, taking the Rosa here for just getting Rosa at least slightly online, at least get Q2 to make her useful outside the scenes. That's nice. Though I think it makes that if next, you know, the Heron robe, if she shows up, just put it on or either white mage or both. You can't say no to more Heron robes. You're gonna make berserkers out of them.
Yeah. We could do a full party of heroine robe users. On Scott's side, we've got all 3 characters that can use it.
Although for Rydia, you want to get Leviathan or Blarg online, so her robe looks a lot less appealing. Though I think we saw Stardust Rod, so that will negate a lot of the negative effects. I mean, literally, it's plus 15. Wisdom for Stardust Rod, Heron Robe minus 15 Wisdom and Will, so the wisdoms that we care about, and that will make her, at least her Blarg, much faster to cast. It won't be super powered, but it'll be super fast. And sometimes you need that speed, as any spell you cast does rely on agility and your ATB. So however fast you cast it, agility does affect how fast you cast things, and how certain commands function.
Yeah, and I think Rexx recognizes how much cash this party is going to require to looting extra chests, and I think that's a good play here.
It's I like the play to line in the sense that when you have a Tella, you already have a lot of you have exit, so walking isn't going to be a chore. So it's the thing that want to maybe fade outline early to just have, if you get access to exit on any white mage, it just makes the whole journey much more palatable for Outline Cave.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how the difference in this early routing is going to play out. We've got the extra levels for Rexx versus the extra party member for Scott. Is setting up to be quite the difference in how they're going to approach this, at least this early game.
Well, Stardust Rod will get back a lot of the speed, especially with the monsters that absorb flame. You just don't want that to happen. So that will kind of make up some of the time, but those early levels for Porm will kind of make her a lot more useful down the line. So it kind of there are more benefits to Porm, though her spell learning curve is it's not as good as Rose's. So there are pros and cons, and they're just it's not always as straightforward as it sounds.
It looks like a rat tail from Antlion Cave.
I mean, do we want to wish the hook route on? No, I know that yes, we have flag set does have force magma, but there's a caveat. The stars when you see terms of agreement, the thing is you could have your magma key somewhere on the hook route, so it's not you might have to do the hook route just to get the underground instead of trying to find the magma key, because they might be on the hook route, and our runners probably don't want that, but that is a very high probability, just the way the flags work.
Yeah, seeing that rat tail definitely makes me think it might show up earlier than later.
Yeah, I mean there's a number of key items that are kind of like there's not like a terminal end like Sand Ruby. You collect the character, that's the end of the chain. Things like Hook will lead into something like Pink, Rat Tail. Harp can link to something else. We have kind of a ton of key items that might cause a chain reaction, as it were, to kind of slow down our runners and kind of make decisions on how they want to route the seed.
So Rexx doing Fabul and just a power shirt there, so not too much. But we do have the knowledge that we've got the no free bosses flag on for Potion Party, but if there's one free boss that's still around, it's King and Queen of Eblan. But now they're not. They're out of the pool, so we can't rely on that for later.
Yeah, we have. DKC. We starting boss character, so we know it's in the bargain spot. So kind of a really nasty boss out of the way, more or less. So there are bosses that are really empowered by no free bosses. It's just and DKC being at the top of the list, and Water Hag, the 3-hit guy. Well, no, you have to beat up all the HP that's at that spot instead. So that's the one. There are other specific behaviors that come with that, like the boss bit being enabled on even the normal enemies that you see, like Baron guards or the Kaipo guards. So you can't use the same stuff. And just found the Leviathan Rexx Raul, but does not have the Rydia and does not have the Sand Ruby. So will be interesting. Depends when Rexx actually goes up Sk0tt, though not a requirement.
Looks like Rexx is interested in shopping right now. Might be checking Baron for the character as well.
Well, Rexx is pretty much well equipped for that spot. 2 ninja swords, katanas are kind of, pretty good endgame weaponry. Maybe not the best weapon, but certainly top tier. I believe it's tier 5. So, you're pretty much set until something better comes along. But you're not going to worry about edge on the offense. But do Porm. I think this is normally a dangerous spot for Baigen, but with the levels Porum got, she'll survive whatever comes at her. So it's not a concern for not much of a concern for this fight. Just let Edge do his thing. As long as he doesn't get punched to death, it's fine.
Yeah, he's doing significant damage, so this is not a problem at all.
Not usually concerned about the arms, especially if there's no XP at this spot, so no XP lost, to say the least. So that's, but oh, spicy. So Rexx might actually consider going up to go look for this chain. I mean, right now there isn't any other option on the table. So this is, well, Rexx will obviously look for the Flame Dog chest, find the Sand Ruby. Will probably pick up the Rydia at once done, or maybe not. Maybe Rydia is already at the top of tower. There's 2 character checks on the top of Sk0tt, so, and 2 bosses. So this is certainly a worthy time. Though makes Sk0tt's trek up Sk0tt might be kind of countered a little bit.
Yeah, that 2-for-1 special is pretty hard to pass up, but we'll see what Rex's thought process is, if he wants to head up there. But we did see that Bahamut summon in Baron, so that's a bit more of an incentive to pick up that Rydia, if he does get that Sand Ruby.
Yep, just powering up. I mean, you got all this money, you gotta spend it. You gotta spend. You gotta, there, a lot of smarter runners, faster runners, like veteran runners. When you go shopping, not even shopping, just when you know the items you're getting, you know exactly their value, and then you try to make the most of it as quickly as possible. So I know, and for this flag set, all the good stuff are going to be in shops. So there's a lot of incentive to kind of to shop and just find all the good stuff. You know what the good stuff is, and I'm not sure if Rexx is gonna do the public treasury. At this point, he's done a lot of looting. So yeah, the spikes in money, just really great.
Yeah, it looks like Sk0tt picked up the Luca key from the Staleman and Bones chest. So kind of a less valuable key item on the flag set, but a key item nonetheless, especially with Rydia and Tella in tow.
Yeah, the warp glitch is enabled in this flag set. So once you're underground, you have access to warp. You really want to take the advantage. I think Rydia has kind of better access, as Tella requires a full Mount Ordeal trek. So I think if a runner's trying to kind of skim a little bit of time, just never just fade Mount Ordeals unless the hook or the magma keys are not fade Mount Ordeals just to yeet Tella out of the party. I mean, I think it's a kind of it would be considered a calculated risk going that route.
Yeah, Ordeals is definitely a popular fade, and for good reason. It's 3 bosses that you probably don't want to fight, and you only get 1 key item, and if Cecil isn't in the seed today, there's not much of a reason to go there, and outside of maybe getting Tella a couple of utility spells. But we've got no free bosses, so weak isn't as useful. We've got no XP, so we can't use weak on random encounters either. So there's just not much of a reason or incentive to go up to the mountain.
Yeah, I completely understand the check, and hope Edge gets in smack. Though I think Tella can save the day. Tella for at least trap chests in this flag set is certainly very valuable until you try. You can't do things with like Tella and like the hair dryers where you can't do anything offensively, you can't provide defensively. There's just the stronger monsters typically have a lot more resistances to the things Tella puts out, or it might, and not always an ideal thing. I mean, you can still use weak, but there's just, you know, Tella's value. It's pretty strong. It's pretty valuable for the most part, but there are times where, you know, they're like just over the course of the sea, especially given the situation. You know, Tella is a usable character. I mean, there's just sometimes it's not personal.
Looks like Castle Eblan has the value today. We're gonna say that Sk0tt is in oh no mode. We don't know what bosses await, but the objectives are reachable now. So we'll see what his strategy is from this point.
I mean, there are two kind of options especially when you have the magma key, when you have underground access. You kind of want to peek the Fey March and, you know, see if they're kind of free-ish bosses and see if you can do them. Or there's the alternative is to just like get, you know, maybe do a sweep of a lot of the other K-trap areas like Sylph's Cave, like just doing maybe the Pan side, or doing, you know, other objectives like Dwarf, not necessarily Sylph's Cave, but like maybe Tower of Babel from the underground side. The Warrior's Chest in Fey March. I mean, there are plenty of ways to get some levels going, so that just show up and take care of the bosses.
Yeah, with an edge hero especially, I think maybe digging for a couple of those key items, you know, at least trying to get the Pan to save one of those potentially rough boss fights could be a big time save in the end. Oh, hello, Golbez.
Is this even?
And Sid is the betrayer, so might replace Tella with Sid today. We'll see.
I think both of our runners have picked up an Artemis bow, so if Sid is kept, Artemis bow, hey, that guy, now
Okay,
that's
so
very incentivized to go up Mount Ordeals. Very different, a very different experience. So this right now, it's, you know, this early diversion just from both of them. You know, Rexx doing the early moon, doing hairdryer, where Sk0tt does a little later, but has actually also done Sk0tt early, picks up the Radia. So we have a pretty good idea what our parties will be. At least I think they're more or less set. Rexx might peek Sand Ruby just to see if there are options on the table. Maybe this to replace Tella, because Tella at this point doesn't have probably doesn't have the same role he does now. It's DKC. That doesn't matter. The experience you get right now doesn't matter.
Yeah, I think finding that Cecil really changes the temperature of this seed altogether. It just gives a path to victory. And Rexx Raul is taking on this Ashura. This can be a tricky fight here. Sync just needs to kind of change up his strategy a little bit. Looks like he's going to go for the double reflect. And, that should get the job done.
Yeah, 2 or 4. I mean, with certain HP levels will stop doing the thing it's supposed to do, which is heal up the target to the maximum HP. There are however, because math and overflow, it just becomes really difficult to do. So it's around 16,000 HP worth of damage that it can heal, and then it stops. Doesn't quite work the same. It just stop. It's yeah. This game is coded fine.
It's just a little bug. I'm sure they'll fix it someday, right? It's only been 30 years.
Yeah. So Rexx is gonna be kind of on kind of a tangent till finding so it might be in Rex's best interest to kind of stumble onto the hook, maybe, because we know where Magma is, and there's this. So if Rexx stumbles on the hook, probably has a chance, but we'll still check, Castle Eblan before going the hook route. So there's some incentive some incentive for Rexx to deviate, but it can be pretty tricky.
Well, if he does go to Kaipo to check that character, he'll know all 7 characters, so there'll be no incentive to dive the hook route for a character. So there's that at least, for sure. And that's a spicy half of Forge too, coming from the Tower of Sk0tt. I don't know that Sk0tt will be incentivized if he finds that Earth Crystal to do that check.
Yeah, I mean, this massive divergence is interesting. I mean, now obviously someone's going to win, but the just understanding what goes on and how things deviate so quickly, so dramatically, it doesn't take much. Especially given the flags that there's just, the spicy of it being the Darkness Crystal start is already enough to throw plans out the window.
Yeah, it's really going to come down to what are these bosses. And, okay, Sk0tt's resetting out of the Warrior's chest. That's probably prudent. Only has 3 characters to deal with it. But yeah, it's just really, I can't wait to see what these bosses are, because it's going to determine, really who has the advantage here going forward. Is Sk0tt going to be able to take them on with the party as he has it? Is Rex's party going to gain more power more quickly? It's really fascinating how this is developing.
Yeah, Sk0tt has kind of the advantage of just having access to everything. I mean, being in no mode gives you a lot of opportunities to do whatever you want in whatever order you choose. And I think there's still, some interest. There's still also, major boss at large. Demist in this flag set will be holding our key item. May or may not be useful, but Demist can still show up and can, maybe hold something like the Adamant Rock for all we know. That might, that could kind of change our runner's fortunes just based on that.
Yeah, especially considering when that Demist could show up. If it's in a spot where you don't really want to go check that key item, but it might save you some time. That could be another fork in the road for our runners today. Looks like Rexx gets the big doll. Bit unfortunate, but takes care of it quickly.
Rexx? Oh no, Rexx doesn't have the assassin dagger equipped. There's a limit to Edge's kind of spell power damage. It's just he's not really a wizard. He has he got the spells, but he's not even Rydia. That's just how it is. It's probably more closer to Tella in spell power than anything else, and that's giving Tella a lot too much credit, possibly.
Edge does have a couple of weapons that can augment his wisdom. Mute Knives, I think the Murasame as well, but yeah, otherwise he just doesn't really cast spells too well.
So to Sparkle, Queenside, and Squid, Octomammoth on the other. I think Octomammoth is actually is doable. Have all the blink available, and when you get the first 3 hits in, there's be a massive slowdown for Octomammoth. So this is probably the one guaranteed to be fought, but the other one will just peek just to see what nastiness can be on the other side. It could be Blar, it could be D-Lunars. There's just Plague would be free, and that would be nice for our runners.
Yeah, definitely. We know there's another sparkle waiting for us on the moon too. So 2 sparkles in objective locations. And as far as that Octomammoth is concerned, it's probably of the bosses that punch, it's the one that you can most easily work around. So it's probably the one that you like to see in a high punch spot.
Oh, nope, rope. That's not a no. Don't definitely. The punching is not too bad. It's just the Ogo's claim to fame is literally initial double big wave. So that means no bye HP. Half of it goes away, and there are times where it has wiped runners just because they haven't healed up, and Scott is wow. Was there a save, or was what did I miss? I guess we're fighting the chest.
Might not have saved in the town, so might have to backtrack through the Fame Arch, unfortunately.
It's a thing to save. They're just, it goes on saying that 30 seconds to save will probably save you 3, 5, maybe 10. Depends on how much you haven't saved. So there's just, it's a risk. Runners know what the deal is. So looks like Scott is just gonna just fade Fame March. So that might be an interesting choice given what's at stake.
Yeah, I don't think he really bought anything. There were full moons available if he wanted to back row Edge, but don't think he was super interested in that. So just gonna save up his money and maybe head somewhere else.
Does look like Rexx is. Doesn't look like Rexx is not considering what the character is. Doesn't know. I don't think he peaked Rydia. Knows there's one other character left, I believe.
Yes, he knows about Sid, but I don't believe he knows about Rydia.
Maybe not incentivized to get rid of Tella, and it's fine. I mean, you have a safety net in Tella, probably just to be taking naps anyways. But one extra blink in the initial phase, is all you can ask for at Tella at a late game. So it's an option. It's not, and I have not the worst idea ever. It's sometimes Tella does his thing and it's fine.
Got Masamune and Crystal Rings in Dwarf Castle, and Scott says, yes, please. I will take as many as I can afford.
The only minor caveat of having the Masa is screwing with the agility, but it's a small gain, it's just 3 agility per Masa equipped, but could be kind of risky. I think with when you have Cecil, I do believe it might have bought a crystal sword. I know we know those. We know the hairdryer chest. I think it was also like Mist that had the crystal sword available. So it's with that in mind, it's probably not. You're not really concerned with the agility. I mean, you definitely have enough bird just to deal with everything.
I totally missed that Scott parked the whale here.
I mean, it is the biggest traffic spot in all of the overworld. You want to park the Enterprise there. You can park other things there. I mean, it's there. It's a parking spot, but it does. It's a fun thing to see once in a while. It's like, dude, where's my Enterprise? Or where's my airship? It has happened to some of us. It's funny when it happens.
So it looks like Scott is gonna head into the moon. I find this really spicy. I like this.
I mean, we have altars to go to, so I think it's gonna be a just bottom up type of deal, not top down, because um, we're not going for the Murazim off altar. We're going to the White Spear. So we're gonna be checking the White Spear altar, Masa altar. But I think Scott maybe just doing this for the experience, I guess, and maybe or I was like double thinking this. It's hard to tell.
Yeah, maybe has gotten the two altars transposed a bit. Might the XP here isn't, horrible, but it's not great either.
If they just want a free fight would be good, but this is not exactly free.
Yeah, this isn't free at all. Does have protect rings, I believe, which will help, but yeah, he just resets and that's a good call.
It's not interested.
Move on.
There's sometimes a mentality, sometimes to kind of just kind of try to keep aggressively going after a spot. Although we know it's not required, so it's much more understandable. Sometimes it's worth looking at a different alternative route, not to get frustrated. I had to reset because this boss isn't what I expected it to be, at least at this spot. So there's just a notion to try to maybe occasionally bang your head against the wall just to get to hopefully get through. But sometimes there are plenty of other options on the table. So this is sometimes it's a wise decision to just rethink it and try to look for other options. There's plenty of key item spots on the table that have not been rated yet.
Yeah, and Sylph Cave is one of those places, and if you can take on these trap chests, you can get a truckload of experience and make the rest of this game, I would say, fairly trivial. Maybe not that Ogopogo, but with enough levels, maybe you could do it pretty easily.
Yeah, the ghost chests are the kind of pseudo-difficult. If you use an hourglass on them, they will still get off their fire 2s, which might devastate your team, but they'll survive the rest of the round. The alternative is to use the mute bells, which basically negate their first series attacks. Once they do their fire 2s, then they start punching for a turn, and that would be where you want to get rid of them as quickly as possible. So you have kind of decent options for dealing with the ghosts, but sometimes you want to look for maybe the Toad Lady, as that's the safest drop chest.
Yeah, Toad Lady can't actually attack. Very interesting battle script for sure. Just tells the frogs to croak, and they try to turn your party into frogs. It's very annoying if you can't actually fight back, but a nice little strategy is you can toad the Toad Lady, and then the toads won't react to the call to toad your own party. So that can finally get the fight stabilized.
Yeah, the croak sequence is basically a secret magic hit on all the toads. Basically, it's a kind of a hidden hit. Doesn't do damage. It basically provokes a reaction script, because if the Toad Lady casts some magic on me, then cast Toad. So it's very simple. So basically, if you neutralize the Toad Lady, Toad being an option, you can also make her a piggy. That's also on the table. Or mute all of them. You have mute bell, so that negates the toads, and you're pretty much done with the fight for the most part. the reaction script behaves like a chained attack. So, well, so it doesn't interrupt if Rydia became not a toad again. She'd still be summoning, but that's just how this kind of a cute caveat how the whole system works in this game. It's quite interesting under the hood sometimes.
Yeah, it's very unfortunate that Rydia got toaded there. Just trying to cast that Titan and just couldn't quite get it off in time. Rexx is having pretty good success with these warriors. They're not that strong, really. Just a small amount of gear, and you can, as long as you're healed up before the fight, you can take them on somewhat easily in most cases.
I kind of feel warriors are like worst coasts, so they're just, I mean, if they're by themselves, they'll heal themselves, but that's only if you don't do enough damage worth talking about. So this kind of, but I mean, they're kind of relatively harmless in the grand scheme of things. They'll punch, but they're just not as scary as the kind of the other options. And oh, hey, they're added. So Forge is a go for Rexx.
That's really nice. That's probably... I think I probably skipped that Ogo in this situation, and hope for better luck on the Giant. But either way, you can skip the Giant or maybe that Ogo. Depending on what our other boss locations have for us. But that's a really nice bind for Rexx.
And the only thing to protect against Toad in this option was the ribbon we found somewhere. I think it was trying to remember which town. I think it's where we dropped the magma key. I think
it was very early. I think it was Mist, possibly.
So that would have prevented Rydia from wasting turns. So there's, sometimes the things you do buy or don't buy could be the difference. Small but still notable difference sometimes.
Another thing the ribbon helps against is bad breath, but lots of things protect against bad breath, thankfully. I always try to pick up a stack of ruby rings anyway, just in case I don't find anything, but crystal rings, heroin robes, many other items as well. Zeus gauntlets also help protect against bad breath attack.
Yeah, I like the crystal rings for that reason alone. Strongest piece of armor, great resistance. But the thing about bad breath from the mobile is really just if you resist any of the statuses, you resist the entire attack. It's just really a nice thing to have in the back pockets if you remember it off the top of the head. And given that there are guaranteed 2 chests in the Sylph's Cave that have it, kind of can be worth it. But Rexx forgot to heal up because or just I think just peeking the spot.
Yeah, it might have been peeking. Not sure if he healed Cecil, but not interested in either fight. So gonna come back later with a little bit more HP and experience to take on these 2 fights.
I think both the runners are looking for getting the 10 key items required. Rexx, I think, has 8. Scott has 6. So I think, at least for Rexx, probably maybe in his best interest to try to maybe look for more key items, even if it's not necessarily needed, but would be worth it just the time to just get the double XP and make the whole grind much more palatable.
Yeah, definitely. We see Sky do that grind right now without the 10 key item bonus, so maybe that could make a difference. Oh, we got a nice forge today for Edge.
But this have a lot of agility. This Super Smith for the randomizer pretty much carries the GBA port, the advanced port with all the additions and adds it to the randomizer as an option for the hero. See, heroes guarantee a Super Smith option for the main hero, and our hero is Edge. So they're kind of I think there's a fair chunk of items on the table for Edge, including some useless stuff too. So, but getting that Utsukami is pretty nice.
Looks like that's the strength boosting katana. The Sasuke is the one that boosts agility.
I think also the Rising Sun, the
Yes.
that also boosts agility. So that's safe. You definitely want a strength boost and not agility boost. So this is a good kind of a nicely beneficial super spin. Sometimes just because there are some ones like outside of being the junk, like increasing your agility for your hero is not necessary. It can be a two-way street unless you are under power overwhelming. Like Cecil with the Lightbringer is essentially power overwhelming. So that would be something. There are just options on the table that might not benefit the starting character as for. And there's some characters that don't really get not the most useful of things, something like that. But I think Berserker's often the biggest beneficiaries here.
Definitely. If your casters could get a kind of agility, it'd probably help them out a lot if they had the great spells, but can't always count on that, unfortunately. Really nothing in Sylph Cave so far. I don't think... We just got an hourglass from that chest. I don't think we've even found anything super useful. The XP will be very valuable, though, at least by itself. Oh, we have the hook and stuff. Thank you. Thank you, Akir, our tracker, keeping us honest.
The hook, I think there's a rat tail at large, so Scott will probably turn that in at some point. So that will be another option. And pink tail, another key item. One more key item for Rexx to get double XP. But I think has found all the key items needed, so never mind. Because Rexx is fine. We'll start doing an actual grind or something. We'll probably feels a lot more comfortable to take on whatever on the moon.
Yeah, not interested in digging for the pan. I think that's probably a good call. You've already got one objective. Probably don't need to skip 2 bosses, but that remains to be seen.
Yeah, the pen is like the kind of the chain that you kind of don't necessarily want unless you get the pen immediately. It's one of those objectives that can throw a wrench in things sometimes. But in this case, it's like we only have K-Trap and K-Main holding all the key items. There's some. I think some. I'm trying to remember if summons do. Let's see. I think they do.
No summon spot.
Oh, no summon. So yeah, that's got to be on the overworld. So your summon spots like K value that won't be getting you the value. So definitely the bosses on the moon will not give you key items at all. So always worth remembering to what the flags are because the details do matter.
Yeah, and looks like there's a spoon in Sylph Cave and a crystal sword. Scott does not have Cecil at this point in time, but that spoon is a nice utility weapon. Could make one of these fights very doable. To just take off 10,000 damage without even thinking about it.
That is not really on the table for Scott, as that's where we found DKC. So that's just Scott at best will probably, if hasn't already done so, sold off the crystal sword. So and I think at this point pretty happy. Although, the seat betrays because there's just so many dragoon spears all over the place. But no Kane in seat at this time.
Looks like Rexx wants to start at the bottom of the moon. He's peeked that spar earlier, not interested to see what it is. I guess worst case scenario, it's our lunar dragon friends. I feel it, and Plague would be pretty doable, but not interested in that check.
The free-ish of fights. Officer, soldier, take down the officer in the back. Soldiers decide, Sudoku? That's what they want to do. They don't know what to do though. They confused. They don't know what to do, so they punch themselves. I mean, the vanilla aspect of it is they were trying to take Rydia off your hands, and you don't know when your commander's gone. They don't know what to do. They don't. So, just do the honorable thing and go away.
And alternatively, if you defeat the soldiers, the officer, despite the Be No Free flag, the officer will still run away because he isn't scripted to do anything else. So it can make this a quick fight, and I think the XP here isn't really worth trying to get the experience for killing him properly.
No, it's not. Although I do notice I've noticed, I just hadn't gotten around to it, but the DS9 character naming, I completely approve.
Well, that's an objective for Rexx, a second objective now out of the 6 required, and he's making some very progress here.
Do love the off by 1/10 thing. I don't remember which version, but I think it was when they removed the stock message of save points and stuff. That was removed, so the first kind of tile that you move on to is still considered a save point, which would normally be interrupted by the message screen. So, kind of fun thing to see.
Yeah, it's a little annoying to then save though, because you have to walk onto the tile to do so.
I mean, at least it's not Alt Gauntlet. Mob Bomb is fine. Although, speaking of it, immediately wipes Edge. Edge will be fine. Well, just get Cecil online. It's fine.
Yeah, this is why we have all those blink casters and back road characters dodging some attacks as well.
I mean, there's again having Tella do something. He does work. I mean, 3, man, that's a luxury. This is such a luxury. I just like 1 is. It's nice because you like there will be scenes that a white mage doesn't show up, but when you have like an abundance of white mages, it just I can't say nice things about. I can't say any nice things. It's too generous.
Definitely too generous. I don't get these kinds of seeds, unfortunately, but it's still still very difficult. Our runners are making this look pretty easy, I think, getting through these very, very different fights. And did you see Edge take like 300 damage in the front row there? That's the power of the crystal ring.
Yep, really, really powerful. Just can't, like, there's like one of those go-to rings to have, especially for any of the slower character. You just want to move them just oh so slightly. 5 agility is a lot, and so those small differences add up over time. The nice thing about this Mob Bomb battle is that our berserkers will finish them off. There's like a 10k HP buffer. Before when it gets into explosive mode, so it could be more likely than not be under 10k HP, and since the pool of bombs eat up some of the overall HP pool, makes the boss significantly weaker.
Yep, and that's objective number 3 for Rexx. Really just knocking these out. Really nice just kind of decision to transition from building up his team to trying to take care of these objectives.
Wondering if a K-Bahamut visit will happen or a quick grind to the Giant is in play. And it looks like K value is going to be in play.
I'm going to be really interested to see what he chooses to do for his fifth and sixth objectives too. Looks like it's going to be Cave Bahamut first though.
Yeah, so it's up, and so I think Rex's route is pretty clear. Do cave value, probably do the Giant to get the grind, and then that will be more than enough spirits to take on either spot King or Queen. Probably, I think the safer one obviously being the King spot. Normally, usually the threat, but Octomammoth not the threat that. Not the kind of threat that you'd usually worry about as a boss most of the time. Scott.
And while we're... Go ahead.
Oh no, go ahead.
I was just going to say, while we have these dueling doot bosses, go ahead and give our runners a follow. Putting on a great show for us today. And, give a shout out to the Restream team here, Sk0tt, Akir, Deathlike, and yours truly. And
also join the Discord. Just because a lot of shenanigans happening too here. Some strange Final Fantasy IV Borg fan fiction that was created by ChatGPT. Things that didn't think you needed in life. It exists.
I only know about the cactus. I need to check out this fan fiction.
Believe me, I read it and I'm like, that is the most ChatGPT thing ever, and that doesn't begin to explain what was actually written. I don't want to spoil it, but it's fascinating. Let's just say that. So Scott, I think, is going to do the same thing Rexx is doing. Go low, just take care of the objectives on the moon, which is the White Spear Shrine and the Masa Shrine. Sometimes there are runners that take care of the Ribbon Room, which is right next to the White Spear Altar. But I think, given that we have something like the Giant of Babel on the table, you're guaranteed to get a truckload of HP that you're done with the seed at that point.
Yeah, and Scott's already got a lot of experience from Silk Cave as well, so maybe could be valuable, but with these two fights, I think probably not looking for that extra experience right now, but we'll see. We'll see. Rexx takes down the Pale Dim very quickly. That's objective number 4. So it's 4-1 right now. Just has a couple more to choose, and Scott is hot on his tails right now.
I think we see the difference in terms of the deviation. I think we've kind of got a clear picture, we're still, the race is still going, but we have a kind of clear picture of how it affected the team. I think the difference is simply just going up, getting the Cecil, having the free burr from getting the Hairdryer's Trust is making up, just gaining loads of time, where Scott, well, I did get the radio, which would have made a difference, but didn't go out of the way to find a orb shot with the Leviathan or Bahamut. We'll stumble onto the Bahamut in White Spear Altar, but kind of behind because of not having enough consistent firepower, I think, for the seed.
Yeah, I'm This Ogopogo, though, could prove difficult for Rexx. It's just so fast here, and I don't know what spells our white mages have, if they can keep up with the healing. It's going to be really fun to watch, especially if he can get this fight completed.
I think most white mages by now have Cure 3. Rosa would have learned it earlier, despite being picked up a little later, but the early grind by Rexx is going to pay off. I mean, Porum should have a Cure 3 pretty much online, so both white mages will definitely contribute against all the damage dealt by Big Wave.
Titan's not quite Leviathan or Bahamut, but it's doing good work here, taking out soldiers, and this fight should be pretty free for Scott here.
I'm it's kind of curious, like from all of that there was kind of no attempt to do dwarf at any edit. I mean, we at least from Rexx's side, knowing that Golbez is kind of there. I mean, you have the opportunity to pick up 2 key items. Would have possibly gotten the key item checks done earlier. Although, compared to the other alternatives, go into a K trap, get hope the key item drops, and then get experience from that. Probably, I think that's likely to be the calculus Rexx did. I think both the runners, came to that conclusion.
Yeah, even though we know where ribbons and crystal rings would be, especially if you go into dwarf, that's where your crystal rings were, I believe. It's still kind of an annoying and long scripted battle to sit through. So it's very understandable to kind of skip that.
Free blink caster by Rexx, knowing exactly that the katana provides free blink. How about that?
That's some next level knowledge. That's something that you love to see. But this Ogopogo is so fast. Can Cecil finish the job? No, not quite. Maybe with a little more luck, I think you can get through that. The HP there is like 25,000 or something like that. And Cecil's doing 3,500 a swing there. So just needs a little bit more.
I would still, again, be more tempted to do this Octomammoth. It's much easier to cripple. It's not punch, but much easier to cripple speed-wise. So that means less punches, less worrying about blinks wearing out. I mean, Ogopogo, it's plenty of spots. Has always been a challenge. Even in the free-ish of spots, like the Super Cannon Room has so few HP, but hey, can be still fast enough to get do a big waves off and kind of mess up your moment and remind you, hey, please remember to save.
Always save. Definitely. I think the one thing though is that it might not be an issue, but if Edge gains more agility relative to Cecil, it could actually make the fight worse for this Ogopogo. It's unlikely, but it is one consideration to have, too.
I don't think it's going too fast for Rexx. I think it's going at a reasonable pace.
I think he put it down to Wyvern Standard Time here to make this, to stabilize the fight a little bit.
Yeah, Wyvern Standard Time, also known as Battle Speed 6, BS6. Very common thing. Sometimes you need all the extra time to get your commands. It's not quite cheating against the enemy, but you get a certain advantage against the enemy in some cases. But there are certain fights where going that slow can work against you.
Rexx has all these blinks going, and just completely neutralizes the main threat of Ogopogo. So I think this is very doable as Scott finishes the bomb in the Lunar Core.
I mean, there's just a reason why blink mages are just invaluable. So I mean, this is not. I don't. I mean, there might be seeds where you are heavily mage oriented. Then also more of a reason to have more blink. You're not maybe not using berserk, but those mages not kind of squishy, so they take hits. It's not if you've seen, Edge kind of take down the chin and fall down immediately. Just back row isn't a guaranteed safe place for some of these fights.
With the objectives at 4-3 right now, Scott is heading back. Looks like to the giant. So definitely going to be fun to see what bosses are waiting for us here.
I mean, I think compared to Rexx has good enough levels, enough XP to call it a day. I mean, learning Cure 4, kind of the pinnacle of having a Rosa around, always a good time. Poem learns it at some like way beyond like 40. It's like 48. It's too high for anyone to pay attention to. So, but that's fine. You have Cure 3. That's enough to get one character single targeted up fully healed more or less. So this is Rexx is deciding to I think finish off, or we're looking for something else.
Pretty sure he already did the warriors. Oh, I know what he's doing. He's gonna cover with Cecil. So he's gonna take some damage on the damage tiles from the Feymarch and get the party in critical so that Cecil will auto cover the physical attacks from the Octomammoth.
Yes, this trick, especially when you do not have blink, it's obviously better when you have blink all over the place, but you only need like one, really effectively one white mage around. I mean, this is it's Cecil cover strats are just pretty darn strong. You can't, it cannot be understated. So you and taking advantage of, especially when you're guaranteed that the boss is super punchy in the form of Octomammoth. This is important game knowledge to take advantage of. Where Scott is finding out Ruby at an element spot.
This is not a fun fight, but he does have a couple darts that make it easier, and that glare did hardly any damage, so pretty safe to berserk here. Not too bad. It's just very annoying, the constant counter attacks.
Glare what? I think it's because I think it's more of a bug. This is. The spot is using the first part of the elements, the Mylon Z Ruby spot stats. The stronger stats actually belong to the follow-up, the follow-up elements, the Val and Inazo. So the strength of Ruby isn't it tickles. I mean. Glare is a very strong spell. I think it has this base spell power of 360, which is it's at least a quarter strong, so 25% stronger than Fire 3, and you've seen, how Glare pretty much takes care of most characters, especially at certain spots where magic power is just off the charts. So this Ruby, not the same threat. It will still be punchy, but not the same threat that you'd expect. Just tanky, though.
Looks like Rexx Raul's strategy of having Cecil tank all this damage is working really nicely. Octomammoth is hardly even attacking anymore because it's been slowed down by all the attacks that it's been taking. So this fight is very much under control.
There's no shame in trying to blink a character that lost a blink. Just half of their blink. To blink provides 2 chances to generate an automated miss. So not if you have nothing better to do with the white mage, cast it. Don't care. Just make it so.
Looks like Scott's having a little bit of trouble getting that Rydia picked up. I think one thing he could try is Life 2 with Tella here, and then that would allow Rydia to survive these glare attacks and punches. Just because, oh, he doesn't have Life 2 because he didn't do RDLs, never mind.
It's fine. Life 1 is all you need. I rarely consider Life 2, like, any seed you rarely get to the point where Life 2 is a thing. And Life 2 still has a chance to miss. Tell a Life is a thing, and having spells miss is a thing for Tell. But Rexx Raul has completed the seed. Doesn't care what the item is, but it's over. This flag set. Just no Z fights. Later on we'll see some Z fights, but in these stages, it's complete objectives and call it a day.
That was a really well run seed from Rexx Raul today, and GG.
Yeah, GG's to Rexx Raul. I mean this. We'll be speaking to Rex about this win. How goes there, Rex?
Hello. I'm doing well, especially after winning. That always feels good.
Indeed it does, especially when you play as well as you did today. Talk us through what you did in the early game to kind of get your party started there.
Well, when I started with Edge and Porum. Porum would need some levels. And I figured as long as I got a third character, it wasn't duplicate on the moon, I was going to take that Jordrunner's test. And when I saw the third character was Tella, I'm like, well, he doesn't really need the levels, but that's what I said I'd do to myself, so let's do it. And, I got the Crystal Sword, and at that point I'm like, okay, let's prioritize characters. So as soon as I saw Earth Crystal, headed up Sk0tt, got Cecil, and that was that.
Yeah, that Sk0tt. Well, I think from us watching that, it was you were kind of deviating a lot just to obviously get characters. You had the Crystal Sword. You wanted the particular character in Cecil, and that while you probably took a circuitous route a little bit in terms of out of the way for characters, that really sped up your seed quite significantly.
Yeah, I think it was a gamble. Like I spent extra time to do that hairdryer just because I knew it was going to be slow. Like Edge was doing 300 damage a round. Like it was a long fight. But it got Porum up to where I needed her, and when I got that Crystal Sword, I'm like, well, if I'm going to make this time mean something, let's hope that we can find a Cecil. And I got lucky on that. I found it, and then. Yeah, a lot of the rest of the seed was a lot easier with Crystal Sword Cecil, for sure.
He's called the guy for a reason, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so when you went up Sk0tt, you were one there, 2 key items for the cost of 1 dungeon.
Yeah, that was the other added benefit there, too. And it was odd because once I got underground, I realized it took me a minute to put everything together, but I'm like, wait, I'm in go mode right now. So then it's just I checked the bosses down there. At that point, my levels were a little too low for me to take on that Ogopogo. So I figured I'd get a 10th key item, go to the moon. Yeah, and at that point, I was just running on autopilot.
I think the seed from the beginning was really dictated on just the spiciness that is the Darkness Crystal as the initial key item. I mean, there's just so many things that there's so many deviations, so many alternative routes that can be run just based on its existence. So, I think your opponent chose a different route. Didn't do a hairdryer's chest, and it was another difference of going to Sk0tt early for picking up the picking up the Sand Ruby, which Rydio was, which is the character you were not aware of, at least for the seed.
Right.
What is? I mean, would you? I mean, was this always the plan? Would you saw Darkness Crystal? It's like, I want to go do this immediately.
Well, it kind of depends on who I'm given. With Edge, for sure. But if I was given like Rydio instead of Edge on that, then probably not. I mean, I don't think like without any equipment or anything, I don't think she's going to be able to handle those hairdryers right there. So, yeah, it really depends on who I got. Like, I felt I had an opportunity, so I thought I'd take it. And I will say, shout out to my opponent, Scott, who said right before the start, may neither of us last position pick get Darkness Crystal, like last check. So at least we avoided that. Neither of us had last item Darkness Crystal. So
that would have been quite the feat had either of you managed to do that.
yeah.
All right. Any final thoughts, Deathlike, that you want to ask Rexx for the seed today?
I think the only question is, was Giant of Babel on even in the thought, and maybe getting some extra experience, or were you just happy with what you had after getting your 10 key items and starting doing the objectives on the moon?
Once I had the once I had the 2 items for Forge, I knew that like the Giant was just going to be the backup plan. If for some reason I wasn't able to take out either Octomam or the Ogopogo, or if the boss or the Sparkle in the Cape Bahamut was like Wyvern with a really nasty Witch Burn, and I just wasn't able to take it down, then my backup was the Giant. But it just would take so long to do 2 bosses there. I figure I'll just do all the single bosses first and only go there if I absolutely have to.
Definitely a sound strategy. Anytime you can do those extra key item objectives over some of these spicier bosses, I think it's always a good call. Any other thoughts, Rexx?
We just had a fun time, and thanks again to Scott for the race, and thanks to everybody for putting on this event and this show tonight. Have a good evening.
You as well. Thanks so much for running the race and doing a great job. We really enjoyed watching you today. So, thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. All right, goodbye.
BG's against Rexx.
All right, that was Rexx Raul, tonight's winner over Scott tonight. Really well-run race. Scott has just finished up that spicy Rubicon and is now on to the second fight in this giant. Gonna see who this is. It could be a very unfun fight. Let's hope. All right, correction. It looks like Scott has decided to forfeit, and there's no shame in that at all. Just has a few more objectives to go. Has had a really good race today. Just came up a little bit short behind Rexx.
Yeah, it's a different set of choices, and the road you take or road you don't take does influence what happens down the line. There will be seeds that the deviations will kind of merge back into the main race. We'll just you'll be doing all the same things, and just understandable. I would have still liked to peek what's at the end of a giant cheeky demist. I would have been thrilled, but that's okay. It's a long season, so one race is not the end of the world.
All right, and not sure if we're going to get Scott in for an interview or not. Looks like he has chosen not to do an interview today, so GG to Scott. Really well-run race, and let's talk about the other matches that we have going on tonight. All right, sounds like we will be raiding to Free Enterprise 2. It is Funnel Cakes versus Starman, and that sounds like a pretty exciting race. How'd you feel about the conclusion of this one, Deathlike? And why don't you take us out?
Oh, I like this. I mean, the seed. You know, just any seed. It's different, and every result is different. But hey, there's still more Free Enterprise going, so we will move you, and hope to see you all next seed. Major reminder: don't spoil. There will be newspapers flying all over the place. If you've never seen a newspaper, I think it's a time where people have forgotten. So don't spoil the race. Let it all settle in. Don't spoil. Also, don't let the race go. So, see you all next time.
Take care, everybody.